Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be here to share with you a snapshot of Project DigiFish on behalf of Blue Shell and all of our contributing authors. So just an outline of the presentation, we'll begin with the goal of DigiFish and who are all the actors that are driving this initiative. Then I'm going to briefly describe the two phases of the project, followed by the key benefits. Then I'll show you some pretty cool data analytics and finally share what's next on the horizon for DigiFish. So as the name suggests, DigiFish is all about promoting the use of digital technologies and innovative data analytical methods to support the application of the ecosystem approach to fisheries. Now, DigiFish is definitely the result of collective efforts of a number of committed actors who have come together to support its goal. And we can see here all the pieces of the puzzle, our funders, the companies who designed and built this impressive hardware and software, and of course, the key beneficiaries, which would be the Barbados Fisheries Division, and of course, the fisher folk who have been eager to integrate this technology into their fishing operations. So last year, DigiFish was officially piloted, and the main goal was really to demonstrate how vessel tracking systems can be used to show how fishing effort changes through time and space, and also to build a robust data set to inform future decision making. So in this pilot, 30 vessel monitoring devices were installed on small scale vessels to capture this data. And it's a small, lightweight, waterproof, solar-powered device that is very easy to install. All you need is a screwdriver and 4 screws. It also connects to a cloud-based analytics platform, and this is where all the magic happens. The devices are also pretty affordable. One costs US $150, and the data service is just US $200 a year. Also, the pilot was successful in fostering partnerships, especially with the Fisheries Division and our Fisher for organization, Barnufo. Phase 2 is aimed at building out our traceability agenda and to outfit 40 of our long-life vessels with these monitoring devices, as well as to procure 2 state-of-the-art smart scales for the tuna species designed by Remora Fishing Traceability. And we're really excited about the smart scale, or as we like to call it, the Internet of Things. And it will work in combination with the monitoring devices to provide data on where a fish was caught, when, and by whom, and also other dimensions such as size, weight, temperature, and the quality of the fish. So this traceability can be used as a tool not only to improve efficiency and data storage, but also to prove that our tunas were sustainably caught. And of course, this could open access to the growing number of premium markets that will pay a little more for responsibly caught fish. And most importantly, this will generate additional income for the tuna exporters, the boat owners, and of course, our hardworking fishers. Just a few more benefits of this project. So analysis of this location data can help fishers to identify patterns and optimal fishing locations. And this efficiency can also help them to reduce their fuel consumption and just make the most of their time at sea. So the boat captains will be trained on how to access and use the data platform. These devices also contribute significantly to maritime safety by providing accurate location data and also insights into vessel movements. As it relates to the fisheries management authorities, they can stand to gain from this robust data set that we'll be building to monitor fleet and fleet behavior. And this will, of course, have applications in marine spatial planning and just having evidence base for the allocation of zones. So far, in the pilot, we've installed 30 devices on small-scale vessels at 12 landing sites on the island. So these would be Moses, day boats, and ice boats. The goal here was to install at least 3 at every landing site. And of course, we're looking to scale up, and we secured funding for 8 more. So we have 32 down, 262 more to go, and we remain committed. In terms of our data management platform, There's a portal that allows for real-time tracking of these vessels, where we can see everyone's routes and activities. Captains can navigate through this platform to see information on their own vessels. Some of them have been already using it to compare tracks and determine fuel efficiency. And this image here shows the type of location data that is generated for each trip. So as I mentioned before, these were just installed last year. So we're experimenting to see how everything functions, and we're still building our data set. So as more time passes, then we can start making certain inferences and make comparisons over time and over seasons. So just to visualize some of the data collected on these small scale vessels, most vessels tend to stay near the coast about 20 miles or less, but we're also surprised to see a few of these small boats venturing out much further. The blue lines here actually are showing a few ice boats traveling out to more than 150 miles. And with this data, we can also identify the landing site that has the most trips and calculate average trip length shown here on these two graphs. And this data will definitely help to assess the time that fishers invest in fishing activities, which is a key indicator in fishing effort. And we can really see that although fishers belong to a particular community, they fish all around the island at various times of the year, which is also quite useful information to inform management. Another application of this technology would be the monitoring of fads. So if we know where the fads are deployed, then we could use these tracks to determine the frequency of visits, which could indicate the level of usage of the fads. So just last month, we began to install on our long line vessels. We installed 8 devices so far, and we're collecting similar data as with the small scale vessels. Of course, these longliners stay out to sea much longer, and thanks to Remora fishing traceability, we have satellite monitoring devices that will provide coverage for these vessels that go beyond cellular range. So far, we have 10 completed trips to date, and the graph on the right is pretty cool. It is a cluster analysis of one of the vessels showing the densities of the geolocation points, which could give an indication of areas of high fishing activity. Of course, we'll be talking to the fishers to validate this information. So I'm not going to go too deep with the analysis, but just to show similar analytical capabilities as I showed previously with the small scale vessel. For instance, the trip time per boat can be determined, and also the distance traveled. Finally, just to share what is on the horizon for DIGIFISH, we'll be using our data to calculate catch per unit effort, which has several applications, some of which I mentioned already, and some additional ones are shown here. We will continue to experiment and validate and refine our products. And the plan, of course, is to expand regionally. We also want to explore the potential for monetizing this data and see how we can get the youth on board to be part of this, this digital transformation. And of course, we have every intention of outfitting the entire Barbados fleet with vessel monitoring devices. We can see one of our long link captains looking very excited about his new installation. That was just a quick overview of Project DIGIFISH. Thank you so much for your time. I see I'm a little over time, but feel free to post any questions in the chat and I will be happy to respond. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that quite clear presentation. I have one hand raised. That's Kafi S. Wallace.
Hi, Richéda. Very, very good presentation. Very interesting for me because we're looking into something to be used in Angola, especially for the fan monitoring. I was just wondering, though, what is the feedback from the fishers? Is everybody quite happy with it, or there's some people who oppose it? So a two-part question. And if this is something that had to be put into legislation, or fishers just took part in the vessel monitoring willingly?
Okay, so in the pilot, I wasn't involved in the pilot, but I am aware that there were lots of sensitization workshops. There were visits to the fish market, the landing sites, to sensitize fishers, to explain more about the project. And we relied really on relationships, strong relationships that were formed even before DigiFish started. So they were very much on board. They had some concerns, and these, of course, were addressed. And so far, we have buy-in from most of the fishers. And yeah, everything is going great.
All those fads that the fishers go to, government fads or private fads that belong to the fishers?
I am not sure. That would be a question for the fisheries management authorities, but I will be sure to pass it along. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you again for the presentation.
You're welcome.